Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Real Estate Talk Show, where we give you the inside scoop on all things real estate and so much more. We have a fantastic show for you. Celebrity designer, author, and TV host Jane Lockhart joined us in studio to share her tips and tricks and discusses customizing and upgrading new builds. We also have HGTV's The Expandables host and handyman, Rob Evans, where he's going to talk about creating a space out of impossible places. So great tips and advice there. But first up, we have CEO of Greybrook Securities, Sasha Cucuz, and he's going to explain their passive real estate investment opportunity and how you can earn rate of returns around 20 to 40% per annum. Unbelievable. So stick around, everybody. Lots to cover. All right, everybody, we get a lot of inquiries about this because you just don't believe it. So we have to talk more about it, explain it in greater detail so you can understand that when we're putting something out there, it's because we ourselves are invested in this. We believe in it. So you have to understand for yourself. So we've got the gentleman that's going to do exactly that. We have Sasha Cucuz, and he is the CEO of Greybrook Securities Inc. And amongst other things, I mean, you have different names. And
There's a few of them. The company generally is Greybrook. We go by Greybrook. It keeps everybody simple.
There we go. Yeah. Greybrook, everybody. So we're going to talk more about this incredible investment opportunity. And the key here is that people don't know there's other options out there. And here at the Real Estate Talk Show, we highlight all the various options for investors and people that are looking for different options, Sasha, to put their money. So explain the whole concept behind Greybrook.
In the simplest form, Greybrook's an equity partner to real estate development. There's different ways, developers access capital, sometimes by way of mortgage and other debt instruments.
So meaning they go to the bank,
right,
financial institutions to say, can you lend us money?
Right.
Okay.
But in every case, they require equity to complete their development projects. Traditionally, most of the big developers have just used their own capital. They've all been very successful and have the financial wherewithal to do it themselves.
So once they've done a project, they've made some money, they reinvest
it.
Okay.
They reinvest the profits into new developments. Then guys like us came along and sort of said, hey, this is a good way to invest, so why don't we try doing this? And we partnered alongside developers. So we basically partner on the equity side of the investment with developers.
Okay, so explain what that means when you say the equity side.
Right. So in a typical development, let's look at a high rise just as an example, because there's a lot of high rises that happen in Toronto. The way it works is you have to buy a piece of land, right? So your total cost of development consists of land. Mm-hmm. It consists of what we call soft costs in the business, so your sales and marketing costs and your planning costs and things like that. And then the hard cost, which is the construction.
So all aspects of construction, that's the hard cost.
Correct, okay. Right? So that in and of itself comprises 100% of your total cost. Well, the developer is responsible for covering 30% of those costs by way of equity. And then 70% of those costs, usually it's the construction piece, is supplied by the bank by way of a construction loan. In our context, we partner with the developer on the 30% of that cost, which consists basically of land acquisition. So we buy the property together with the developer, and we fund as well a portion of the soft cost, which is effectively the sales and marketing program. Because as you might be aware in Toronto and in most places in Canada now, in order for a developer to begin construction and actually take on that loan, they have to sell a certain percentage of their inventory, which people talk about the number 70%. So for example, in a high rise, before you can actually take on the loan that helps you build the building, you have to sell enough enough of the inventory in order to be able to pay those costs back to the bank.
And it's important. So when people see those cranes out there and they think, how is this possible? Those have already been sold.
That's right. So there's a buyer for at least 70% of all of those buildings. And in every development, there's usually an average of about 20% in purchaser deposits that are actually put up in advance. So buyers are obviously obligated from a contractual perspective, but they also have a lot of money invested in those developments. So when we talk about the number of units that are coming to market, those are already, as in our business, we say they're absorbed.
They're spoken for.
There's a buyer for them. Exactly. So Greybrook's role is we partner together with the developer right at the beginning stages. So from the very, I always say the genesis of a project. So a developer has a piece of land that they'd like to develop, and they'll usually come to us and say, we'd like to develop this piece of property, and would you like to partner with us? We do our own internal evaluation. We hire some external and third-party consultants to help us with our evaluation to make sure that all of our assumptions are accounted for and that we've done all of our due diligence properly. If everything checks out, we move forward with the developer, and in our normal model, we put up about 80% of the capital that's required to A, purchase the property, and B, get it through that sales phase where you've sold enough of the inventory to then be able to qualify for the construction loan.
Okay.
The developer makes a co-investment, so they will invest 20% of the capital required to get to that point. They're responsible for doing all the work. They're responsible for doing all of the planning, selling, building, obviously. They're responsible for putting up any credit support or guarantees that the bank might require. That's an important concept where our investors are not responsible for that. And basically the profits are split 50-50.
50-50.
Right.
We need to take a short break, but when we come back, more with Sasha Cucuz from Greybrook Securities.